Three, two, one. Welcome to the SaaS Pulse Show. My name is Michael Bertoni, and I'm the founder and CEO of SaaS Talent. I am so excited today. We have an awesome woman founder, actually co-founder, right? Right, Bethany, you're a co-founder, but we have an amazing woman co-founder. We have Bethany Stachenfeld. She made sure I got that right. She is the co-founder, CEO of Sendspark. Very simple stuff that she does. I love it. Video for sales that scales, right? So perfect. So it's great to have you on the show, Bethany. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's awesome. So we were chatting about how we're both like from Morris County. You know, we love Morris County. So let's get into the actual show here. Two Jerseyans just getting after it. So I love first the superhero backstory, right? So we need to understand what Bethany's superhero backstory is. Can you share your background and the journey that led you to Sendspark?
For sure. And well, one thing I'll say is I always knew that I wanted to start and run my own company ever since I was a kid. When I was 5, my dad's a lawyer, so he started a law firm in New York City. And so like growing up, the kind of business problems that he was facing was a dinner conversation. And so I didn't even like think about it. I was just like, this is what adults do. You grow up and you start your own company.
That's so great.
So I'd say it was never even a question that was always on my mind. And then the question was really, what's the best thing that I can do? Like, if I look at me and my strengths and like my passions, what can I do that could have the biggest impact and the most success? And, in college, after college, I just really fell in love with marketing and marketing automation. I think it's just super cool to be able to affect so many people at once and to like take a step back and think about, okay, what's like a key value proposition and, problems, and how do we match the two and then build like automated funnels to connect with people at scale. Like that's just something I totally fell into in my first job and just kind of kept digging and digging and getting further in that direction.
Right.
And then you saw an opportunity kind of present itself when it came to video, where video is just such a great way to communicate. It can be so powerful. But, when I was in my career doing marketing, there was nothing that let you really personalize videos at scale the same way you could with email. So that's kind of the saga that took me to Sendspark.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Got into marketing, fell in love with marketing, and then said video, because video is the way. We all have to do video. That's why we're doing this video right now, because we have to do video. So what was the inspiration? Right. So yeah, what can you pinpoint the inspiration behind Sendspark? Like what led you to say Sendspark or the name or something like that?
Yeah. Well, the name Sendspark comes from send a video, spark a conversation, because we're all about helping you connect. The inspiration. So my co-founder and I were both working together. We actually worked together at 2 startups before starting Sendspark. So the one right before Sendspark was another video company in a different space, more like education and corporate training. But, I was running growth. He's running product and design. And so we were trying to figure out how to use video to connect with new customers. And, the idea really came from me complaining to him, being like, oh, like the videos work so well. Like when we send it, people just get so excited. They see what we're doing. They see who the people at the startup are and like why what we're doing is different than the way things have always been done and the bigger companies do it. But it's so freaking tedious to like create a video. And I'm in marketing, right? So I'm getting the salespeople to create a video. I'm like begging them, please record, like creating the video, uploading landing page, like adding branding, like there's just so many manual steps. So it wasn't scalable at all. So I'm like whining to my co-founder. And then, he's a designer. So he's like, all right, step back. Like, what if we could do this and that and that? And pulling up, this is like we're Figma people now, but this was like back in Sketch days. So he's like using Sketch and basically designed out Sendspark. Or like, we have to do this. This is we
so
need
awesome.
it. Other people need it,
Yeah. So for the people listening to this, obviously we've seen, we've heard, we won't name them. There are competitors, right? So what is your product all about? So describe your product and the value proposition. Why Sendspark?
Yeah, so Sendspark is about creating personalized videos at scale to use for sales outreach or, marketing automation. So there's a lot of platforms that are going to help you create a video. And
Mm-hmm.
that can be really useful in a one-on-one conversation, or if someone asks you a question, you want to respond with a video. And you can do that with Sendspark too. We have a Chrome extension, a desktop recorder, so you can record yourself, your screen, or your camera over your screen and talk through things. But the real reason we exist and what sets us apart is that with Sendspark, you can create personalized videos at scale. So
Mm-hmm.
you can record just one video.
Hmm.
And instead of actually saying, "Hi, Michael, I wanted to show you XYZ," you say, "Hi, Watermelon, I want to show you XYZ." And then with AI, we can automatically replace Watermelon with a viewer's
Whoa.
first name in your video. And we can also change different parts of what's shown on your screen. So you're able to basically create one video, use AI to personalize it for everyone. And then you could either send it out and like a sales prospecting sequence, or even build it into your email automation. So when new customers sign up, they're greeted with these personalized videos tailored to them. They hit
Nice.
certain upgrade modals, they get tailored content. So it's all about personalized videos at scale.
So how are you? That's really, really cool. I mean, obviously, it sounds like you're ahead of the curve with AI. So when you're saying personalize, can you bring me a little bit behind the scenes of how you personalize? Like, so how does the AI work? I'm always super curious about how does the personalization happen?
Yeah, so we do instant voice cloning. And we only need it's actually amazing. Like the tech behind it's super cool. So we only need 10 seconds of an audio file. And
Right.
then with that, we can clone your voice and then have you say anything. And the way we're doing it to keep it like safe and secure is we're just doing variables right now. So
Right.
you're like Watermelon, and then that would be the first name, but we're not
Hmm.
like making you say anything. We're probably going to build more of that soon. We just have to be a lot more cognizant of how do we make sure it doesn't get abused for like terrible things. But yeah, so we can just replace different variables in your audio, and then and that's with AI. And then changing parts of the screen, it's automation. It's like picture in picture. So if you think of
Yeah.
the way that you might record like a camera bubble over a screen, we do that in layers, so you can change different elements of the screen. It's not technically AI, but it's still really cool dynamic video.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, definitely differentiated. I mean, it's in terms of really succinctly, let's get it for the audience. So, what is the SendSpark differentiation in your mind? So why should people get your technology?
People should get Sendspark when they're looking to create personalized videos at scale. So not just creating one video for one person and again, but when you want to take one video and then use AI to personalize it for
Hmm.
every single person in your sales outreach list or your email automation.
Multiple clients, just take one great video. Wow. So we'll take one great video and you can make changes to it, updates to it, change the words on it. Wow. Yeah, no, I totally get it. I love it. I love it. So I see that you've been in business for a little while. So what have been your challenges? So what have been some of the biggest challenges you've had as a business and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, a ton of challenges. I'd say high level, what makes startups hard is the chicken and egg problem, where like you need a little of this to get a little of that, but for that you need a little of this.
Right.
So even like basic getting started, it's like, okay, well, you need a product in order for customers to pay you money.
Right.
But you need to build that product, which probably means paying engineers, and it's hard to pay engineers without money, and it's hard to have money if you don't have a product to sell, and
Right.
it's hard to get investors if you don't have any traction because you don't have any of the above. So, there's just a lot of like, we need this to get that. And, in a way I call it like just like the startup wiggle, where you're like a little of this, look at me a little of that, give me a little of it. And you're kind
I
of just
love it.
trying to do everything and hope it comes together. Um, and it's hard and a lot of things can go wrong. Um, I, so
What was the hardest startup wiggle? So again, you're right. So you had to build your product. Did you take funding, right? To build the initial MVP. And then once you built the MVP, then you got to go get customers, right?
mhm.
Then you maybe could get more funding. So what would you say was the hardest wiggle that you had to deal with?
Yeah, I'd say like the hardest wiggle was getting like the initial product built.
Hmm.
We did take funding. We took, we took funding with like absolutely nothing. So that was probably the highest dilution round, right? We'd
Right,
take.
right. Well, that's cool that you're able to
Um,
do that.
and
That's
so,
cool.
yeah, we raised
Mhm.
funding early on, and then we got just, one check really. And then we were able to get enough traction that we got into 500 startups. And then from there, which was a little
So
more
cool.
money. And then from there, we raised more. And then, this whole time we're building, but it was hard to, we were building but bit by bit, and then just trying to be really efficient.
Hmm.
Because you never really know like when the next check is coming necessarily. So we wanted to make sure we could have like customers paying. And what we try to do is break Sendspark into, not necessarily everything at once. Like our product today is amazing. Early on, it was just like, what is the smallest thing that's the fastest we can get to market that people are going to pay for?
I love
So
it.
we have a sellable product. And I feel like we've said the word sellable product like a million times, because what can be scary is if you're trying to go for something really big without having a sellable product on the way, you could end up where you have half a sellable product and no more money, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, how do we like take what we have, make something sellable, use that to get to the next step, and that to get to the next step. So it's been a lot of like, little milestones along the way.
I think it's so cool for all the listeners that are staying in here though. So you got your initial funding to build your MVP, right? You're
Mhm.
saying that that's really cool. So tell us that story real quick. So how much funding did you get? What did that look like? And then you built your product. That's really cool.
Yeah. So first check was $100,000. And that was, it was from Pat Matthews at Active Capital. So it's a VC fund, but I think the first check was kind of more of an angel investment, to be honest,
Mhm.
because we did not meet the criteria for the fund. But he really believed in what my co-founder Brandon and I could do, which was just amazing to start us off. And $100,000 seems like a lot, but it can disappear quickly if you're not careful with it.
Right.
So I wouldn't even say we built our product. It was like we built the first sellable product, that gave us something. And then from there, we were able to like raise a bit more, build more, get customer revenue too. And I think like I really aligned with a bootstrap mentality. Like, we raised funding, but I do think that there's like a lot to be said for growing through customer revenue.
Mhm.
One, because it's like scalable, sustainable, non-dilutive, but also because you really want that proof of we're building things that people want and they're willing to pay for. So customer revenue is always the best. We're lucky to have like amazing investors. I really, we have really good relationships with all of our investors, and I think they're awesome. We're lucky to have them on board, but I never want to be someone who's all about the next fundraising round. It's really about how do we build an amazing product for customers.
Nice. Bethany, I got to tell you, I love your energy. Right.
Thanks.
So most of the time we obviously interview, because about 90% or more of founders are men. So like I love your energy. Like it's just amazing. Like I just turned 50. So like I don't feel like I'm 50, but like
Uh-huh.
I could feel your like youthful energy. Like it's awesome. Um
My reckless
so
optimism.
yeah. So in terms of your approach to talent, so how do you approach talent, people on your team, right? Recruiting. How do you do that for your organization? How does that work?
Yeah. I mean, we have a few different things that we think about. Like in general, since we're both as a team and as a product we're selling, we're about like efficiency, like doing more with less. So for me, it's about having people that are super, super capable at a variety of different things
Hmm.
on the core team, and then bringing in either tools or specialists for different features or things that we need help with. So a couple examples of that, our team of engineers, absolutely amazing. And they can do all kinds, like you throw stuff at them, they'll try all kinds of different things. But sometimes if something's really technical or like, everything's technical, I guess. But if something's especially complex, we'll bring in an advisor from another company to advise our team on how to do it the right way.
Love it.
And then that way we can keep our core team, because and once a feature is built, like, they can go on their way, and we can move on to the next project. And then what can also happen is the people who are advisors end up coming full time. So we just got our
Nice.
new head of growth. He's advising us for like 9 months.
Nice.
And
Great.
just the more he was advising, we're like, we just need you doing this all the time. So by like working with people as advisors, you can really get to gauge like things that it's hard to pick up in an interview of like, how do we think similarly? Are we able to communicate really well? Like, are you the kind of person that gets stuff done? And not just talk about get stuff done, I think can be hard to gauge in an interview, but when you're
Yeah.
working with people. So we have a lot of
Love that.
advisors. We have a lot of advisors and a really versatile core team. And then, you know, another just core belief is that talent's universal. Like we try to stick on convenient time zones for collaboration, but I'm going to hire the best people no matter where they are in the world. And luckily we use Deal that helps us do that.
Yeah, Deal. I know them.
Mhm.
No, that's great. I mean, so you are using a great philosophy that we teach. I mean, so fractional,
Yeah.
so bring in fractional, right? So I tell people all the time, if you have a sales problem, a really high sales problem or something, just ask somebody for help. Like usually you could like ask people for help and they'll just be like, yeah, sure, I'll help you. And usually you don't even have to pay them. So usually it's great to start with fractional, get to know someone. And then, yeah, if it works out, hire them. But that's great. So we're going through this at a great clip here. So this is great. So last question is the advice that you would give. So 2 to 3 best pieces of advice that you would give early in growth stage SaaS founders. So what would you say are your biggest takeaways, biggest advice that you can give them?
Okay. Biggest advice is build something really different than what exists. If you want to build something that's going to have a lot of overlap with competitors, focus on the thing that makes you different first, because that's why people are going to come to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can be really hard for a startup to be too similar for existing companies. Like it really has to be 10x better to pull people over. That's advice that we heard that I think it took us a little bit to embrace. And as soon as we went all in on like not just what makes us the same as other video recording platforms and how do we make sure we had parity, but we really focused on the differentiation, like just everything changed for us. So I
Yeah.
would have done that sooner. You can always build parity features later, and you don't have to validate them. You know, there's a market for them, but it's about like building your differentiator and your brand based on that.
Love that.
Related but different is don't try to get everyone to like you. Just really focus on the people who do like you, getting them to love you. Those are your champions. They'll be your future employees. Like, you know, those are the people that are going to help you like rocket to the top. So especially early on, there's so many people that are going to say no, or they don't like it, or it's not different. It's like, if everyone's saying that, okay, lean into it. But if like 90% of people are saying that and 10 aren't, great. Focus on those 10 and what can you do to make them super, super champions. And everything will just flow correctly.
Bethany, this has been amazing. Your energy is amazing. We got through this podcast super quick. So it is awesome to have you on the show. So again, it's Bethany Stachenfeld. She's the co-founder of Sendspark. Check her out. What's your website again, Bethany? Tell everybody.
Sendspark.com.
Sendspark.com. And
Videos, conversation.
videos are amazing. So definitely check her out. And thank you so much for being on the show, Bethany.
Awesome. Thanks again.